All right, YouTube, I have an interesting video today. I normally react to or respond to Overwatch questions on the Overwatch University subreddit, but I thought today would be a fun video to react to the competitive Overwatch thread where people predicted how the Season 9 leaks was gonna shake up the game. So about a month ago, people saw an early iteration of the patch notes, and people were speculating how this season, with all the increased HP and the bigger projectile sizes, would change and shake up the game. And I always think it's fun to see how wrong people were and how bad people overreact, right? So let's just go over the thread on the original poster, the OP who made the thread, and a couple of the top comments. So we all have been playing the season. The first thing that this person said, hi guys, I'm Leo, said tanks will be open-minded for about 3 days before people start hard focusing them again for the 20% heal penalty, and they'll say this is the worst state tank has been. Yay or nay? Yes, agreed. This is actually so accurate. Holy shit. That is actually incredibly accurate. Wow. Good start. Supports will say this is the hardest season to play as DPS aim is way more lenient and are being given training wheels than the DPS got the bullet sizes that supports currently have now. I wouldn't say this is the hardest season. I think tanks, I mean, if you're just a support player, this is objectively the hardest season. Your role changed a lot. You can't play, you don't have the forgiveness of being able to just be out healed when you stand in the open. It punishes poor positioning this season. So this is also a good take at the time. Third take, the DPS will not complain about it being the hardest season to play because it won't be, but a lot of them will not be happy anyway. True. This guy's cooking. Everything he said is cooking so far. Mercy will be the dark horse for the first week and then shoot up in popularity when people figure out new damage breakpoints to pocket. But Mercy mains will complain she doesn't feel impactful enough and ask for healing buffs despite having a good pick rate. Cow, which is the subreddit competitive Overwatch, will post about damage boost around every 2 days. Okay, this one, not so hot. Mercy, this one's the first take that was a little sour. You can't hit every point. You can't predict everything, but this take, not so much. Mercy so far in the first 2.5 weeks has been one of the lower end picks. I've seen a few of them in ranked who can pocket an Ashe or Sojourn pretty well. I would say on this patch, Mercy might be a little bit better than she was before the hotfix patch, simply because you see a bit more Sojourns and Ashes. But on that first week, it was just Tracer Genji. I mean, Tracer Genji still very good. Sometimes Tracer Sombra Ball. It was all heavy die, but a lot more Rush has been prevalent. I just finished scrimming with my OWCS team. Didn't see a Mercy, of course, but Rush was with Ram or Queen is very good, which also means Mercy can't be played as much. But in solo queue, I mean, pocketing the right DPS, okay. Interesting next take. Tracer will be considered F tier and a throw pick for 2 weeks, and then slowly be considered mildly higher than C tier. Sombra will be considered F and stay F. So this was very wrong. When people first saw Tracer, I remember seeing people mention, oh my god, 175 HP Tracer is going to be OP, but then someone's like, well, everybody has 250 HP, everybody has 300 HP, like Reaper has 300 HP, tanks have Diva has 725 HP, Tracer will be C tier because she can't one-clip people anymore. But man, this was very wrong. Very rarely, even in the previous patch, were people able to one-clip anyways. It's usually a 2 rotation thing, and a lot of people take random chip damage and poke because they can't top off their HP, which allows Tracer to clean up like crazy. Her off-angle pressure is unrivaled because of her mobility, and the 175 HP, when nobody else got too many damage buffs, except for a few heroes like Winston or whatever. None of the DPS heroes really got a damage buff, if I'm not mistaken, which means her breakpoints at 175 are very good. She played for health packs mostly anyways, so the fact her survivability went up, yes, her DPS went down, or not damaged, her TTK went down because people had bigger HP pools, but the bullet sizes also compensated her pulse pistols, which allowed her to clip people a little bit better, which evens it out. Basically just got a net survivability buff. Tracer, S tier right now, not even close to F or C. Sombra, also, like, I would say A tier, high A tier in the correct dive comp. Ball Tracer Sombra was running last week's tournament and I played it, or sorry, 2 weeks ago in the first few days of the patch. Sombra's still pretty good in ranked, I would say. She's B tier. If you try to like force her in every single comp, like you try to force Sombra and Rush, it becomes like B, C tier. It's like, okay, it's serviceable, it's solo queue, but if you play her in the correct condition, she can be very good for sure. but she's not even anywhere close to F tier. Winston will be surprisingly good. I think Winston's like high B, low A right now in ranked play, but we played against the Winston twice in the scrims today, and he kind of got rolled. It's just, he's still pretty good though. Roadhog, I would say he was lower than C tier. I would say Roadhog was D tier, but they did buff him this hotfix patch, so yeah. Reaper will be considered S tier after about 1 week. I think Reaper's like high B. I think he's totally serviceable. He's better on this patch than he was ever. 300 HP, gets lifesteal, applies the DPS passive. Actually a pretty good like tank buster. And right now tanks are having a miserable time because they get blown up. Well, if you want to blow them up more, you can play Reaper. The only reason why if you watch a streamer play ranked and you don't see Reaper is because he's boring as hell. Like no matter what the meta is, people will still default to a lot of Tracer and Genji, and because they're just fun heroes. Like Reaper is just traditionally so boring that like, and he's not proportionally that much better. Like he's okay and he's serviceable a little bit better, but he's so one-dimensional and boring that people just won't main him. Like there's so few people would be like, hey, I'm a Reaper main. Sojourn will be S tier in the upper ranks almost immediately, which serves as a catalyst for Mercy becoming dominant. So I see why they think Mercy will be a dark horse because of Sojourn, but Sojourn's still good by herself as well. Sojourn's fine. Soldier ended up being the best DPS, I think, before the hotfix patch, before they nerfed the bullet size a little bit. Same with Widow. I would give Sojourn still very good, like A, high A. Still very, very, very good. Hanzo will become popular after a week paired with Mercy. I think actually Hanzo's okay, especially in ranked, but like here, now that I play these high-paced scrims, Hanzo would get absolutely crushed. He gets rushed down so fast. Does lose the one pick, the pick potential, but he's not bad at like, you know, just like whittling down the tank. It's, he's okay. I wouldn't say he's that popular right now. Cass will be a sleeper pick. True. This is a good call here. Will slowly become more popular throughout the season, but only become dominant once Sojourn was nerfed. So Sojourn never got nerfed. Cass was a sleeper simply on the last patch because Ball was being played. Tracer is so good that the Hinder is very good. Cass is 275 HP, super tanky. People are coming into him like the Balls and the Tracers and the Sombra. So Cass is like a pretty good deterrent about that against those picks. Even Doom is actually getting better this patch, so Cass is probably still a pretty good sleeper pick. The hit scan, you know, projectile size allows him to tap people like crazy. Cass is very good. Very, very good. Good call. Lucio is considered hot trash, but the Lucio mains don't mind as they got a boot buff. This was way off. Lucio is probably the best support right now. He fits in everything. Dive, brawl. Even in poke with Sigma, people are still running like BAP Lucio. Probably to get around some of the rush. So Lucio is probably the best support right now. The boot buff is crazy because of the lockout, which is basically like a mini stun. His projectile size was so big, he just spams down chokes and just has like 6 to 10k damage after an entire round. Just chip damage. So good. Lucio is unreal. Yeah, Lucio poke, believe it or not. I saw BAP Lucio. People just didn't even play BAP Zen anymore because like you just poke with Lucio and just speed him out as needed. I don't know, Lucio's unreal. Okay, Brawl heroes will begin to reign supreme for a bit. Right now, it's a mix. I see a lot of Dive and a lot of Brawl mostly. I saw less Sig and Scrims, but Brawl is still serviceable. Since Lucio is like everywhere, Brawl's good. Pharah rework will be received very positively when people start to find her obnoxious, and the rework will backfire and never get rolled back. So, I would say a lot of the Pharah mains don't mind the rework. It's just the fuel problem. I ran into like a couple of Pharah mains in ranked. They're like, if you just fix a bit of the fuel, the new Pharah's not bad. Very spammy, but honestly not like a terrible rework by any means. Just a buff or two away from actually being like reliable. Don't have to rely on the Mercy as much. You don't have to live in the skybox, so that's less oppressive to play against. She does get clapped if you're not using natural cover, since she's flying mid-height now, and all the hit scans can just rail her. But she's still on the low end until people still get better with her. So she's still a dark horse. You just need to find the right people to like master her new version. Okay, and the main meta support pair would be Mercy Baptiste. I don't know what this guy was cooking with that one. Hell no. It's Lucio +1 right now. Lucio plus whatever you're running. It was Lucio Zen early on. Lucio Bap, Lucio Moira, Lucio Kiri. Seems to be the four most common pairs at this point. Okay. Let's see a couple of top comments here. It's going to be a lot harder for Sombra to secure kills before someone reacts. That is true. She says should still be fine with good teamwork to follow up, but she won't terrorize lower ranks with awful positioning. Yeah. So I don't know what your experience is, chat, playing against Sombra and maybe like gold or under. In high level ranked play, obviously there's not very many Sombra players on ladder, but again, when I played in that tournament 2 weeks ago, they were running a proper good teamwork setup with Sombra. Very, very oppressive. Very, very good. Interesting. Yeah, actually, to scroll back from the top, you're saying, I would say like 60% of these takes were pretty accurate. That's a pretty good win rate for the predictions. And as accurately reflected in the OP, Wrecking Ball will be largely ignored. Oh, he was making, this guy was making a comment because the guy didn't comment anything about Ball, which is funny because Ball ended up being one of the best tanks early in the season. So Ball ended up being pretty good. Would you drop the biggest patch in the game, rework one of the worst heroes in the game at the same time? To be fair, Ball was not on the low end of tanks by the end of before season 9. Feels safer to push Ball off until they have a more solid idea to how the patch turns out. And boy, oh boy, there we go. And the reason why Ball was very good early season, still very good in ranked, is because he didn't benefit, or he benefited, like the projectile size changes for the DPSs didn't really affect Balls because good players would always shoot the ball anyways and not really miss because his hitbox is ginormous. He can't be headshot, so just rolls around. And he just goes for health packs. So by the time he rolls to a health pack, the DPS passive is gone. And even so, you can take a health pack and not be affected by the 20% reduction. Your health packs heal you full amounts, by the way. You don't take less HP from it if you're getting marked by the DPS passive. And he rolls away, and he can disengage for a bit, even let the self-healing tank passive for 5 seconds kick in if he's really out of the fight for that long. So Ball ended up just winning indirectly. And he got 75 armor as well, so he ended up being one of the best. Next, they said Zen will be dominating the meta. Correct. Flats makes a video about Zen that goes viral. Zen gets nerfed to oblivion. This guy's prediction. Zen was certainly dominating the meta. I don't actually know if Flats made a video about Zen in the last 2 weeks. He did? Listen, the guy pumps out 21 videos a week. 3 channels, video daily, 21 videos a week. It's been 2 weeks, 42, 2.5 weeks, 50 videos since. Zen did get nerfed, but the nerf didn't really hurt him. 25 HP was the big nerf. They nerfed the knockback distance on the boop, or the kick. But here's the thing. It wasn't really a nerf. It was kind of like a change. So the kick before would actually like push them far enough away that they'd be disengaged because they create space. But right now, because they didn't nerf the damage, if you kick them and they don't go as far, you can just back-to-back kick them for damage. So now it's like stronger if you stay up close. So it's dangerous there versus creating space. So if you don't know, kick does melee damage is 40 damage. Kick does 50% of your melee damage in addition. So it's 60 base damage for a Zen kick. If you discord them, it's 75 HP damage. So if Winston comes into me, I discord him, I kick him, I do 75. So I just 75 melee damage, and I don't kick him as far, so I just back-to-back whack him in the corner. So Zen's not nerfed to oblivion by any means, still very good thing. And yes, discord a kick does as much as an old Rhine swing, if you put it that way. So if you run at a Zen, he's basically old Rhine swinging at you for comparison. Timings are going to feel weird. Yes, correct. Doomfist mains will complain about bugs, and they will be right. That's right. Early in this season, Doom was incredibly bugged, where he couldn't diag punch. I saw a lot of Doomfist players mention it on Twitter. That is correct. He's still bugged right now, where in a Brig matchup, if the Doom punches with Empowered Punch against a Brig bash, Doom falls down, Brig does not. That's not supposed to be the case. You're both supposed to fall down so you can get equally punished. But right now, if Brig stands up after bashing, it's like, oh shit, you're on the ground, then you just get rolled. I won a game because of that too. My team had a Brig, they had a Doom, and my Brig ended up bashing at the same time. Their Doom fell down, we're like, whoa, whoa, he's on the ground, just fucking kill him. And my Brig's like, hey, I'm alive. So, I don't know. Despite that though, they fixed the diag punch, and Dooms have learned how to play around it. Doom still makes a lot of space, and Doom is pretty good against Queen comps and against Sigma. So Doom is actually like, I gave him like a C tier in my head early in the season, but he's actually like slowly climbed up. A lot of top players are running Doom Dive, top Owl comps, but like if you're not a Doom connoisseur and you don't have the right team around you, then Doom will kind of suffer in solo queue. But yeah, next, everyone will continue to say Rhine is the worst tank in the game, even though a lot of the changes in the patch benefit him. A lot of the changes did benefit him. He did get like what's it called? Damage buff on his swings, but he's still actually one of the worst tanks in the game at the high levels. He's probably still fine in metal ranks, which is why they're very hesitant to buff him, but he's not played at all. If you run any sort of rush or brawl, you just play Ram right now in the high end. But yeah, and Fire Strike actually is not buffed, right? His charge got buffed, but Fire Strike does the same as a swing right now, which is a little bizarre. So this was a very incorrect take there. Well, not incorrect. Incorrect prediction. Always funny to see how people saw this patch early on. Zen and Mercy are going to become more useful because Discord Orb and damage boost are going to become more valuable and the enemy has more HP. True. Zen especially, but Mercy still kind of in the middle. Really depends on who you're pocketing and how cracked they are. Like, I certainly did win games 2 nights ago in ranked when our Mercy was just pocketing literally the god DPS on our team. I think our Ashe had like disgusting amount of damage. So it just depends. If you just force Mercy every game and your DPS are playing like Genji Tracer, then it's just like, what? Right? So it's hard to one-trick Mercy this season, at the high end especially, but she's like a situational pick if you're cracked at Mercy and you really want to like play around it. Next, I think any speculations are things are gonna get wrong, things will change. Yes, that's true, but for the yapping, all right, what did Rob yap about? Ball won't be good, but he won't be as bad. Tracer as well. Okay, nice yap. So this is the prediction with the whole health pack thing, correct? Then some heroes are most advantaged by a universal healing role. Tracer will be able to play more autonomously before grabbing a mini, and Ball will regen to 300 HP. That's correct. Health pool changes don't seem great at first, but Ball's getting armor while most tanks are getting health. Right. So armor was given to Diva as well, right? Ball. Who else? Orisa got armor as well. Tracer is small, but it does change some breakpoints. Removes 2 shots from Illari or the head body combo from Kiri. Actually, my prediction for the season was Kiri wouldn't be as good simply because of the removal of the 2 shots. So in solo queue, I wasn't going to be convinced that Kiri was that good, but Kiri seemed good in scrims in a team environment. But if I'm solo queuing, it's like BAP feels better in solo queue, but feels worse in scrims. But in scrims, it's the opposite. Kiri feels worse in solo queue, but better in scrims because of just survivability. It's interesting how the game just changes depending on who the level you play at, right? Bullet size buffs will help Ball and Genji a ton. This one was interesting because a lot of people said Genji's so bad still because of the slash only does on this blade, blah, 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 blah. But Genji right now, the projectiles change for her shurikens ended up benefiting him like crazy because he's actually so... If he's somewhat close to you, double right click or double secondary fire will like never miss if you're up close now because of the size changes, which is insane. Okay. My guess is some big winners are Soldier, Ashe, Zen. Good call. Big losers, Hanzo, Hog, Lifeweaver, pretty solid. Hanzo, not so much. Middle, but Lifeweaver and Hog definitely got worse in this patch. Interesting. I'll read a couple of more here. Why do you think Lucio's going to be bad when Brawl's going to reign supreme? True. Good. Lucio's good. I feel like there's going to be more to the notes. They seemed incomplete to add. I can see Tracer getting a 0.5 per pellet buff. Hell no. Wow. Hanzo, Hog, Widow Chains. I think those heroes will function fine. No, Hog needed help immediately. Widow was really good. Hanzo mid. Mercy's pick rate's going to skyrocket. Yeah, this one is not correct. Draco Queen will receive a slight buff in her damage. All ammo clip buff. Zen is going to be insane. Yes, that's the only good take here. All right, last one. From a support perspective, I think we're in for another Ana Kiri, Bap Kiri, or Ana Bap meta. None of these changes do anything but reinforce their dominance because their heal numbers are still going to be the hardest to outpace in the roster, with things like Briggs Inspire becoming near worthless. Mercy is going to blue beam res bot if she shows up because that's unaffected by the changes. Moira might become a sleeper pick because of her high cleave, heal, and retained dueling potential. That's a good take. Illari's going to suck ass. Good take. Lifeweaver's going to feel nearly as bad as he did at launch. Lifeweaver's not great, but actually I've seen a few Lifeweavers. It's like not great, but like not terrible. But more on the terrible side than great. Lucio will either feast with DPS Reddit style if he survives the changes or fall off the map. No, he's feasting. Zen's going to start to struggle to get value out of his ult. That's true. I don't know if you guys have noticed, popping Transcendence, you're like actually not healing anybody anymore. You get killed by like Hanzo, Grav Dragon. I was popping Transcendence on flat on Orisa, and he popped Fortify as well to tank, and he was still getting blown up in it because he had Discord Orb on him. And the DPS passive 20% less. Like, he was actually still getting shredded. Transcendence with good focus fire is not even nearly as powerful as it has been. It's actually crazy. Discord will be a welcome addition, of course. Brig will barely hang on, mostly due to Ana, but should be weaker. Brig is still situationally pretty good against dive, I would say. Ana still got full strength, anti, sleep for bullying tanks and setting up burst, and the best burst healing in the game. Nah, I think Ana's healing right now is pretty mediocre, and you just always like, you always feel like you're on the back foot playing Ana this patch. That's basically it. Not to mention Nano. Nano's still good. That will make everyone live for even a more obnoxious amount of time. True. Window will let them burst people down. True. Not a rarity. You can still blow people up. Curie is still a 0 risk 3-tap flanker with decent burst to healing and the ability to cleanse negative effects. She'll be fine. True. Slightly less obnoxious than the flanking. True. You know, the takeaway point here that I was trying, like, reading these takes, it's like, whenever like a big patch is coming out and people's perception of the game is just all over the place, and the takeaway point is take these opinions in but like, you truly will never know until you actually try the patch. The second takeaway point is that the overreactions on Twitter and Reddit are like never that meaningful ever. Like, you can have an opinion, but you literally, it just irks me when people go like, they read something, they read the patch, they didn't play it, and like, game's dead. And for me, I found Season 9 to be one of the most fun seasons ever, with all these wacky HP and projectile size changes. But anybody who says, I don't know what they're thinking, devs are stupid, like, okay, some changes they made in the game, maybe you don't vibe with. You can't please everybody. There's gonna be some stuff you don't like, but you literally do not know until you play the patch. So you can have an opinion, but like, I guess, and you can say what you want to say, but for me, it does annoy me when people say things in absolutes. Game is dead. This hero is dead. Devs are stupid. GG's. Just give it a bit more time. No need to draw heavy conclusions right off the rip. Also, another thing that people didn't mention here was that healing passive. When people saw the global healing passive and they're like, paladins, oh my god, they're turning to paladins, oh my god, what are these people thinking? More healing. And then it turns out the healing passive for tanks and DPS doesn't even kick in ever in the middle of a team fight. 5 seconds is a long time to not take a lick of damage, and it's just kind of a nice quality of life change in the in-between fights when there's like, you survive, you're the last one, you get a little bit of health back as your team is coming back. Like, it like barely affected the actual like gameplay loop in most cases, apart from like very niche or outlier scenarios. So like, you know, relax, people. That's what I really want to say. Just relax. If there's a big patch coming up, you don't have to get all keyboard warrior and angry in the comments. It makes me have terrible opinions of people's opinions. It makes me feel angry. Or not angry, but you know what I mean? Just relax. And be like, this is a little concerning change. I don't think this will, don't like this. My prediction is blah, blah, blah. Cool. Just less of the extremes. Thank you. Anyways, that was just funny reading some of the predictions. That's it for the video. What did you guys think? How did you guys think Season 9 was going to shape out versus the actual reality versus, what's that Instagram meme? It's like Instagram versus reality. This is Instagram, and then what's reality, you know? Rage bait does farm clicks. That will never change. Bye, YouTube.